Once again, good evening to everyone. Welcome to the day 42nd of our UGC-NET Paper I class. Today we are entering the Unit 8 chronologically and numerically we are going to see through about Unit 9, which is People, Development and Environment. So this is mostly a theory part, as we have already discussed. One is numerical, one class, and then next would be theoretical. So we are going about theoretical in this thing, and today's topic will cover these things, that is MDGs and SDGs, and then anthropogenic activities and their impacts on the environment. So before entering this thing, in my personal opinion, each of the single word, I'm not saying about a sentence or a thing, so a single word itself has a potential to occupy the class of almost 1 hour in this whole unit, this particular unit alone. So that much thing is there. So due to time constraints and our own confinement, I have mostly tried to limit the content without exaggerating all those things. So we are strictly and solely focusing on whatever it is given here and some basic elements which prove as the strong base hold for all these things. So that's all I have covered. I might not have covered which you might already know if you are somewhere gone through all these topics. So please bear with me, and like I said, it is strictly confined with the UGC-NET, so I have not included any other extra things. So see, we will go through the class. So here, before starting the topics, I just want to clarify the unit title itself, that is People, Development and Environment. So what is people? In general, we know people are the common individuals in the society, all those things. But in the UGC-NET aspect, that too in particularly this particular unit, what it defines. So there is a triangular relationship between people, development and environment. So this particular triangular relationship is the core of a sustainable progress. So human development activities, that is whatever we try to develop our lives, we use natural resources, that is environment, to improve the quality of life. So here that particular improvement is the development. But over exploitation causes environmental degradation, which in turn harms people and future development. So it is more like a balancing or tipping of the scales. It should be perfectly balanced, or else we will risk the destruction of our environment. So in environmental and developmental studies, people refers to the human population as both they act as agents of development as well as the stakeholders of the environment. So agents of development means they are the people who initiate change and build society. So stakeholders means who depend on impact and impact natural resources. See here, depend on natural resources and impact natural resources, because for example, a river is there. We are depending on the river to achieve the agriculture effectively, but at the same time, by building dams or தமிழ்ல சொல்லணும்னா ஆற்று மணல் எடுத்தல், ஆக்கிரமிப்புகள், இந்த மாதிரி விஷயங்கள்னால we are impacting the natural resources. So we are the stakeholders of the environment, that is we means people. So they are the central to the dynamic relationship between development and environment. So now then, development. What is development? Development refers to a process that improves the quality of life and the economic well-being of people, especially in underdeveloped or developing regions. So we, as a country, India is somewhat, even till date to now also, it is a developing country. We can't say it is completely developed. And we are definitely not underdeveloped, that's sure. Still, the development should happen in the process such that the quality of life and the economic well-being of the people should be improved. So this includes economic growth, social progress, technological advancement, human development and institutional improvement. So economic growth is the GDP or the individual person income should increase. Social progress is more interactive with almost all the regions of the country. So there are, even in Tamil Nadu itself, there are certain villages which are restricted for outsiders. So I think near Dindikal area, I am not sure exactly the geographical location. So there is a village. If you are not the resident of that village, or any you don't have any relative or friend from that particular village, you are not allowed to stay in that village after 6 o'clock, that is evening, in the evening. And also you are not allowed to enter itself to some point. So that's how. Why? Because the path to that particular village is completely a forest area where hyenas, tigers, bears, elephants, everything crosses. So they restrict the entry to that village. But think as a perspective from that villager point of view. You might go outside, you might explore something, but at the same time, you cannot bring any kind of development to your own village when compared with others. You can bring out, but it will be a slow and a steady progress, not as a rapid progress when compared to other villages. So there, the social progress diminishes, and that also includes technological advancement and other things. So development and environment are interlinked concepts. So development aims at improving the standard of living and economic growth. So then here, while discussing about development, see here itself, sustainable progress. So while discussing about development, we cannot omit or we cannot defy the sustainable development. So what is the sustainable development? Actually, in the Brundtland report, that is our common future in 1987, they have defined the sustainable development as, it means meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So like I am having a particular water resource. Now I want to use that resource for my own well-being, that is either agriculture or my own drinking, that is well and good. But I should not overuse or waste the resource, water resource, so that when my future generation wants that particular water resource, they cannot use, means then I am diminishing their future, or I am demolishing their own progress. So that is not sustainable development. My development should also not interfere with the future development. So that is the sustainable development. So there are certain key principles for this sustainable development. First is conservation of biodiversity. So there are various number of plants and all those things, and even animals, both flora and fauna. That is the, we should not destroy or endanger any particular species. So that is the conservation of biodiversity. Next, efficient use of natural resources. I think in USA, nearby that in the Atlantic Ocean, there is a small island is there, that it is actually it is also a separate country, a very small, very small island, somewhat like a city like Bangalore or Chennai, you just think like that. So that particular country or the island is the only country in the world where they 100% use the renewable energy resources. They have a hydroelectrical power supply and all those things, and other windmill, something like that, water and all, no. So the renewable energy resources they are using. They don't have any kind of nuclear plant or other kind of electricity generation. So efficient use of natural resources. Next, intergenerational equity. So now if I am overusing of certain thing, at certain point my own future generation cannot use it, means then I don't have any equality or equity for that generation. So intergenerational equity. Next, integration of environmental, economic and social factors. Last one is participation and good governance. So each one should take a responsibility for their own development or growth. So these are the key principles of sustainable development. Now comes environment. So what is the environment? Environment includes all external conditions and influences affecting the life and development of organisms. So natural is air, water, soil, flora, fauna, and then man-made is urban areas and infrastructure. So whatever the region or external condition which helps us to or which affects our growth, that is the environment. So this particularly supports life and provides resources essential for development. So if I don't have any electricity facility, then I cannot conduct the class, which in turn helps me to grow as a teacher, as well as you guys cannot utilize my own knowledge without the power supply. So when we don't have the electricity or other relevant technologies, then we don't have the opportunity for development. So even the electricity and the internet connection, we could say it as some kind of environment also. So uncontrolled development leads to environmental degradation, and environmental degradation undermines long-term development. See, recently you guys might have heard about there is a very water scarcity problem in the city of Bangalore. So when the first time in my own conscious mind, I can say, I think the first time I went there is in my 4th standard, and after some time I went in 7th standard. So at that time and all, the region I went is known as Ulsur. So that particular area itself had almost I think if I remember correctly, 8 to 10 lakes somewhere. But nowadays there are very restricted number of limited number of lakes in Bangalore city. So the people who developed or who built the Bangalore city planned for its natural resource, that natural scenery oriented city. That's why they have built many lakes there. But due to urban development, due to the expansion of the IT companies and all the cities, they have destroyed most of the lakes, and they have built all those the flats on the other buildings, something like that. So there uncontrolled development happened there, which led to the environmental degradation. Next, that particular environmental degradation undermines the long-term development. So this particular relationship led to the evolution of global frameworks like Millennium Development Goals and Sustainable Development Goals. So to promote inclusive growth and environmental sustainability. So this is the definition for people, development and environment. Now, the interrelationship between development and the environment. So development often depends on natural resources, but as we have seen earlier, overexploitation leads to environmental degradation. So there are certain unsustainable development causes. First thing is, we commonly know, that is deforestation. Now the eradication or cutting down of trees. Next, air and water pollution. This we have seen in recently many areas, like the factory waters mixing in the water, all those things. Next one is soil erosion. So due to the cutting down of trees and all those things, soil erosion happens, which diminishes I think in Himachal Pradesh or somewhere, where when river overflows or river floods happen, the buildings or the roads itself eroding with each other without proper confinement. So their soil erosion happens. Next is climate change. So there were while we are that is in our grandparents' time, they might accurately tell the what to say the months where rain will fall. But nowadays we cannot predict when rain will come, when it will the sun will shine, all those things. And lastly, biodiversity loss. Like I said, no, all kinds of plants and like flora and fauna, that thing should be there. But most of the species are getting eradicated or getting destroyed. So there is a biodiversity loss. So therefore, a balance is needed between economic development and environmental conservation, which is called sustainable development. So next is, there are certain challenges. So environmental challenges affecting development. First one is climate change. This we one way or another way we are responsible for climate change. Still, climate change is restricting the farmers for a proper cultivation. Next, pollution, that is air pollution, water pollution and soil pollution. This restricts in what to say, they conduct the contagious diseases and deplete the resources from that particular source. Next is deforestation. Then urbanization. Last is resource depletion. See here, there are certain renewable resources. I hope you guys know about what is renewable and what is non-renewable. So now we are using the petrol and diesel, which are non-renewable resources. So we are depleting that particular resources. So now we are searching for alternate kind of power source, that is e-vehicles. So these are the things, are certain challenges that affect the development. Next, here are certain initiatives taken by the government of India to balance the development and environment. First is National Action Plan on Climate Change. Next is Environment Impact Assessment. Then National Biodiversity Action Plan, and then Afforestation and Reforestation Programs, National Solar Mission, Smart Cities Mission. So then Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. I think among all this we know only this, I suppose. So Swachh Bharat Abhiyan promotes hygiene and waste management. So actually these are some of the initiatives. There are few more are there which I have not included in the slide. So totally so many initiatives has been taken by the our Indian government to balance the development and environmental factors. So why it is being done? We see here by the name itself we might identify this one solely focused on the climate change, and then whenever a new factory or something is there, how the environment would be affected or impacted. So they are making a impact assessment. Next, national biodiversity, they are preserving the endangered species. I hope you guys might know about turtle walk, that is even happening in the Marina Beach in Chennai itself. That is I don't remember the exact turtle type name. There is a special kind of turtle which hatches its eggs during certain month. So at that time the well-wishers and many volunteers come to gather the eggs and then they store it in their own laboratories. When the eggs hatches, they return the turtles to the sea without any mishappening. So by doing that, they are reducing drastically the ratio of death tolls or wastage of that eggs. So that is National Biodiversity Action Plan. So based on the name itself, you can identify what and all happening. So now comes the Millennium Development Goals, that is MDGs. So see here, the MDGs emerged from the United Nations Millennium Declaration, that is in September 2000, which is attended by 189 countries. They have emerged, or they have proposed the Millennium Development Goals to the entire world, in particular developed countries. So in the 1990s, the declaration was based on agreements from the previous global conference in the 1990s on children education, women population and social development. So what was the aim? So the aim of the MDGs was to create a comprehensive global development agenda to tackle extreme poverty and major human development issues by 2015. So this was for the 15 years from 2000 to 2015. So for the 15 years, Millennium Development Goals has been implemented. So what are the purpose of MDGs? So to provide a time bound and quantifiable framework for development first. So as I said, no, that year frame, that is from 2000 to 2015. Next, to mobilize international cooperation for poverty reduction, education, healthcare, gender equality and environmental sustainability. Next, third one is to improve global human development indicators such as life expectancy, literacy rates and health access. So there are these three were the main purpose of the formation of MDGs. So how many MDGs are there? There are totally 8 MDGs are there. First is eradicate extreme poverty and hunger. That is the first thing. Second, achieve universal primary education, not the complete education. Achieve universal primary education. Third one is promote gender equality and empower women. Fourth one is reduce child mortality. Fifth one is improve maternal health. Sixth one is combat HIV/AIDS, malaria and other diseases. Seventh one, ensure environmental sustainability. Eighth one is global partnership for development. So these are the 8 MDGs and they have their own trackers. So what trackers means? There are some points which assigned to each goal. So it ranges from minimum of 2 to maximum of 5, I suppose. So all these trackers mention that once we achieve that track, we can ensure that this particular goal has been achieved. So there were certain trackers or traits, something like that. Now comes sustainability development goals. That is Millennium Development Goals. This is sustainability development goals. That is SDGs. So in 2012, during the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development, that is Rio Plus 20, the idea of sustainable development goals was officially proposed. So a high-level panel was formed to design a post-2015. See here, till 2015, MDGs were there. So post-2015, development agenda was to be formed. So a high-level panel was formed, culminating in the 2030 agenda for sustainable development adopted by their 189 countries, here 193 UN member states in September 2015. So it was proposed in 2012 and it was finalized in September 2015. This one succeeded. Succeeded means followed. This followed the MDGs but with a more inclusive, universal and integrated framework. So what is the purpose of this particular SDGs? The first again, to end poverty, protect the planet and ensure peace and prosperity for all by 2030. So now we are in 2025, till again 5 more years are there. So till that, this particular SDGs are the main thing. Next, to integrate economic, social and environmental dimensions of development. And then to make development inclusive, participatory and equitable, ensuring no one is left behind. Last one is to create global and local partnerships for development across all sectors and nations. So MDGs, there are totally 8. As far as SDGs, there are totally 17. See here, the same thing. There are certain things which is repeated from the previous itself. But there, these two are as one. But here, SDG 1 is no poverty. 2 is no hunger, 3 is good health, 4th is quality education. There compulsory primary education, here quality education. See the changes. Next, gender equality, and then clean water and sanitation, renewable energy, good jobs and economic growth, innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace and justice. So partnership for the goals. So see here, the main thing which I will we might know here, the main contributory for environment and development is solely focusing on the goal 7 alone. To some extent, we can add any one of this, but not completely. Whereas see here, this where we can say it as renewable energy, and 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All these care about the growth, that is environmental and development. So that's what they are given here. Key differences between MDGs and SDGs. First thing, timeline. Like I said, 2000 to 2015. This is 2015 to 2030. Here 8 goals. Here 17 goals. So I said tracks, no, actually it is targets. Here for 8 goals, 21 targets are there. But for 17 goals, 169 targets are there. So what is the focus? MDGs are primarily for social development, but SDGs, they integrate social, economical and environmental dimensions. So where it could be applied, this thing, developing countries, that is countries like India, they only can apply, but SDGs, they could be applied to all type of countries, all the countries. Inclusiveness, so top down and donor driven. See here, top down means the developed countries or the leading countries has to help the developing and underdeveloped countries. Here, more participatory, inclusive and consultative. So each country, irrespective of their own development criteria, they can contribute certain things here. So these are the key differences between MDGs and SDGs. Even to some extent, I think you guys might know about we are doing articles in our own department, no? Knowingly or unknowingly, our own paper might contribute to any one of this. So if your paper on particular contribute about any of this SDG, it is more and more acceptable by the UN countries. So me as a scholar, I have published 2 kinds of papers when regarding with this quality education as well as gender equality. But at the same time, there are need for all these goals. So how it is being performed, how the individual countries like developing countries like India or some countries in Africa, how they are adapting such goals into their strategies and policies for the development. So those are the things should be focused. Next, human environment interaction. So here, this refers to the reciprocal relationship between people and their natural surroundings. So you might have heard some stories about where the environment takes over whenever something is exceeding its own kind. So like floods, all those things. Some people will say it is God's doing. Some will say it is a revenge of the nature, all those things. But it is simply an interaction between human and the environment. How each of them interact with each other and reciprocate that particular relationship. Next, human depends on, modify and adapt to the environment for survival, development and growth. See, I don't know whether you guys have heard about it. The people who are in somewhat colder region, that is they have brought up in a colder region, no? There, unknowingly, they might have more fur, that is body hair in their hands, legs, all those things, than the people in the hotter region. Why? Because in order to survive the coldness, the animals and humans staying in that particular region, they have to have their own defensive mechanism in their body. So that's why their body functions react to certain kind of things. So this is a minor nowadays due to various factors, that is chemical and global change, food habits, many things are changing. Still, you might find it somewhat feasible. So when you compare with the modification or adaptation between environment for survival and development and growth. So this is a central theme in geography, environmental studies and sustainable development. So there are certain anthropogenic activities. Anthropogenic activities refers to human induced actions or processes that directly or indirectly affect the natural environment. So the term anthropogenic is derived from anthropos, Greek for human, and genic is origin. So that is human origin. These activities include all human endeavors such as agriculture, industry, urbanization and transport, which result in environmental changes. So these are the common major anthropogenic activities and their impact. So I don't want to complicate the slides, so I have given here itself. So the dark ones are the anthropogenic activities and the light ones are their own impact. So urbanization, what is urbanization? Their impact is land use change, heat islands, water stress. Next, industrialization. So the pollution happens, air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, and then toxic waste also. Deforestation, so biodiversity loss, CO2 increase, soil erosion, all those things. Next, agriculture and green revolution practices. So because of this, groundwater depletion, soil degradation, pesticide use. Nowadays they are using a high kind of chemical pesticides. All those things affect the soil resource. Mining and quarrying, so land degradation, water and air pollution, and then transportation, GHG emissions, noise, oil spills, all those things. Fossil fuel combustion, that is energy production. So climate change, air pollution, ozone depletion. Then waste generation and improper disposal. Pollution again happens, diseases, methane emissions. Last is tourism and recreation, that is littering, habitat disruption, overconsumption. So these are the some of the major anthropogenic activities and their impact. So that's all for the today's class. So these are the some of bibliographies. That's all. Thank you.